BJ Mafia, what's poppin'? So it has been a crazy NBA trade deadline so far. The trade deadline officially ends at February 9th, 3 p.m. Eastern today. And when we saw some of the biggest news, we saw Kyrie Irving, one of the most talented and prolific point guards in the game today, get traded away to the Dallas Mavericks. Last night we saw a 3-team trade between the Los Angeles Lakers, the Utah Jazz, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then late last night, I was already in bed at this point, the Phoenix Suns are now going to be acquiring 13-time All-NBA talent, 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time NBA champion Kevin Durant from the Brooklyn Nets, and what a hell of a trade this was. I'm going to talk about this trade on both sides, and then I'll obviously talk about at the end who I think won this trade. Let me actually get into the details of this trade first. Adrian Wojnarowski tweets out the Suns are sending Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, 4 first-round picks, a 2028 pick swap for Kevin Durant and TJ Warren, sources tell ESPN. And then included in those 4 first-round picks were a 2023, a 2025, 2027, and 2029 unprotected first-round picks that are going to be sent to the Brooklyn Nets, who basically lost all their draft capital after trying to trade for James Harden from Houston to Brooklyn. And just what a hell of a move this was. After Kyrie Irving had departed and he had been traded to the Dallas Mavericks, I said, you know what? It's time for the Brooklyn Nets to blow this thing up. I know Kevin Durant has 3 more years left on his deal in Brooklyn, but they need to get rid of Kevin Durant and they just need to let him go and try to compete somewhere and get valuable compensation. And boy, did they go and get valuable compensation. I think for the Brooklyn Nets, obviously, you're never going to be able to replace a top 5 player in the game. Hell, even a top 10 player in the game. No matter what you trade and no matter what you get back in return, you're not going to be able to replace a Kevin Durant, especially even at this point in his career, when he's still playing at an MVP level, when he's on the court, one of the most efficient, elite scorers in the game, and he can still play great defense. Kevin Durant is not replaceable, but the valuable compensation that they got in return, I love it. Obviously, you're going to love 4 unprotected first-round picks. You can even use that as trade bait. But even the guys that they got back in return, Mikal Bridges has really taken a step up this year offensively speaking. I think his scoring output has really gone, kind of unnoticed this year in Phoenix. I don't feel like enough people are talking about it, especially in the absence of Devin Booker. Mikal Bridges was doing a lot better job offensively scoring, and I think now in Brooklyn, he's going to be doing a better job. You're obviously acquiring Cam Johnson, another great 3-and-D role player who's really shined with his young time in Phoenix. And they're also getting Jay Crowder, another great veteran, another great 3-and-D guy, a great hustle guy, and a guy who's really just proven a lot on championship caliber teams over these last couple of years. Like I said, I think the Brooklyn Nets did a great job getting valuable compensation in return for the Phoenix Suns trade acquiring Kevin Durant. And then let's also talk about the Brooklyn Nets kind of lineup right now. They've got guys like Spencer Dinwiddie, Cam Thomas, who's now put up 3 straight 40-point games, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and Nick Claxton, who's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, Ben Simmons, Royce O'Neal, Jay Crowder, Dorian Finney-Smith, Joe Harris, and Seth Curry. I think a lot of these guys are absolutely great role players. Like, this is a great and solid team. They're still going to be somewhere in the Eastern Conference, still pushing for a playoff spot. I know we still got a lot of season left in them, but the Brooklyn Nets have a legit roster under Jack Vaughn, and I really like what they've got going right now too. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of changes, and we're going to have to see how this team really shapes out. The only problem with this team is there's no all-star caliber players on this team as of right now. And it's just a bunch of guys who are just glorified role players, a bunch of great defenders, a lot of guys who can hit the 3. And if these guys can play unselfish, kind of like what we see in Utah with a bunch of great role players, then I think that these guys can go out there and still be competitive every single night. And now it's really up to the front office to continue to hit on these draft picks, and they're probably going to be making some more trades as of today with a lot of these role players. Now let's talk about the Phoenix Suns, because obviously acquiring Kevin Durant, this to me makes the Phoenix Suns the absolute hands-down favorite in the Western Conference, because when Kevin Durant comes back and he's going to be healthy alongside Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and you still kept DeAndre Ayton, I think that this move is only going to help out the rest of the Phoenix Suns roster, helping alleviate a lot of pressure, especially off of a guy like Devin Booker, who was asked to carry a lot of the offensive load every single year with his tenure in Phoenix. And plugging in a guy like Kevin Durant, who's going to play unselfish basketball, he can consistently score on all 3 levels, and like I said, he's still going to be a good defender. You kept your core nucleus with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and you drop Kevin Durant in there. I think he's going to fit in seamlessly with this group. I think a lot of these guys are unselfish. And yeah, does it suck that you lost Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, who didn't even get to play this year in Phoenix, and then also Cam Johnson, guys who are great role players and really help what this team shapes up to be? Of course it does. But when you get a guy like Kevin Durant, there's no complaining whatsoever. And the Phoenix Suns front office and the Suns' new owner was really pushing hard to get KD to Phoenix. I know KD wanted to be in Phoenix. This to me is an absolute no-brainer. They are a top team in the Western Conference. I don't even need to see them on the court. As long as they're healthy, even with the depreciation of Chris Paul over the years, he's not obviously quite the same player that he was, and obviously injuries have derailed him a bit too. If this team is healthy, the Phoenix Suns, to me, this team is coming out of the Western Conference. I gotta make that very obvious from the get-go. But NBA fans, Suns fans, Nets fans, I gotta hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Just what an absolute Woj bomb, Shams bomb to wake up to this morning at 4 a.m. and say, damn, Kevin Durant's now going to be playing with the Phoenix Suns. Like I said, let me know y'all's thoughts in the comments down below. And do you guys think that the Suns are now the favorites to come out of the Western Conference? Like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, man, make sure you guys drop me a thumbs up. It takes 1 second and it helps me on the channel out tremendously. And if you guys are new here, consider hitting that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more NBA content that I do here on YouTube. And make sure you guys go follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok. The link tree will be in the description down below so that you guys can go follow me and check me out on all of my socials. But thanks again for sticking around throughout the whole video. Brett James, aka BJ. I'm out, y'all. Peace.